So many people treat pressure like a chokehold. However, sometimes it's exactly what you need to bring your original ideas to the surface. And the film Birdman makes this so clear.
Pour a cup of clarity, sip a spark of insight. Coffee with karma, your morning feels just right.
Real creativity doesn't come from wide open freedom. It often comes from those moments where you feel boxed in or short on time or pushed to decide. When you reframe your constraints as catalysts instead of obstacles, then originality becomes a whole lot more predictable. Hi, my name is Carma Spence, and I help business and leadership experts write, publish, and market client attracting books that elevate their authority and, of course, grow their business. And I do it with AI and gamification so that it is fast, easy, and fun. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so that the YouTube algorithm will know that this is a good video for people like you who want to grow their business with books. And speaking of the YouTube algorithm, starting next week, I will be posting my videos on different days. Yes, I will still be going live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I will be posting to YouTube on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Apparently, YouTube likes it to be scheduled so that it can figure out what your video is about before it goes live. I find that interesting, but that's what I have learned most recently from a fellow named James Wedmore. So I'm going to try it out, see if it works. So here we go. Let's get to tip number one. Most of the film Birdman takes place in narrow hallways and cramped rooms of a theater. This is something of a visual metaphor of constraint, right? It heightened tensions and it mirrored the internal constraints of all the characters. So, how can you create your own cramped space to increase creativity? Some people do this by converting a literal closet into an office and making that their creative space. Some people do it by making sure that their office is just a corner of the kitchen. But it can also be a mental sensation. You could put up a cardboard box and pretend you're in a cubicle. You could actually go to the library and work in a cubicle. If this sort of sense of cramped physical space helps bring out your creative ideas, then find a place that you can go to when you need to be the most creative that gives you that sensation. Number two, every character in the film Birdman is boxed in by something: ego, expectations, fear. Birdman's actually having a Birdman talk to him in his head. And that pressure drives their most original choices. Internal constraints, which I alluded to a moment ago, can be just as catalytic as external ones. So, can you give yourself deadlines, rules, other internal constraints that release your creativity? I gave this example, I believe, on Monday, where I decided to write a poem where every line was 10 syllables and there were 3 lines per piece of the poem. Not my best poem, but it did force creativity. This is why I love experimenting with haiku, 575. Again, not my best work, but I've come up with some very interesting haiku. I remember in elementary school when I was first studying haiku, I still remember one of the poems I created. You want to hear it? Here it goes. Here are some questions for you. Do you sit while smiling in glue? Do you like that new boy, or would you rather go to Troy? And are your eyes, which are green, shiny blue? And it's got a rhythm to it, right? And it fits the 575. And actually, I think that may have been a limerick. That was a limerick, not a haiku. Never mind. I like playing with limericks too. In fact, when I was in undergrad, I would take the names of my coworkers and I wrote limericks based on their names. We had one woman in the kitchen whose name was Ermengarde. I never got past the first 2 lines. There once was a woman named Ermengarde who carried around a large wooden shard. I never quite figured out how to finish the poem, but sometimes I'll play with these highly structured poem structures in order to jumpstart my creativity, which allows me to flourish in other areas. That might be something you could do too. So let's get to tip number 3, which is Riggin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Full transparency, I have actually not seen Birdman yet, but I've read about it and I really want to see it. And I thought that it really helped with the theme for today. Anyway, Regan is trying to stage a Broadway play with limited time, limited money, and a massive pressure. And of course, he's kind of going crazy because he's got this Birdman in his head, right? So he's under a lot of pressure. And I'm sure you've experienced these kinds of constraints, you know? Oh, and with the holidays coming, we're heading right into Constraint City. We've got Thanksgiving next week, and then there's whatever holidays you're celebrating in December. And even if you're not celebrating all of them, everybody else around you is and inviting you to parties. And whew, it's a lot, right? It's a lot. That's the constraints. But guess what? Can you reframe them from a negative to a creativity freeing positive? So you can't work on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. Well, maybe you'll have extra time on Friday, but that's Black Friday. No, no, then there's all the shopping, shopping, shopping. Or not. Maybe you're resting, resting, resting. Maybe you're in a post-turkey coma. Who knows? Reframe these constraints to make yourself more creative. Maybe you figure out what you normally do in a week, how you can fit it into 3 days. Maybe you do a little bit less because it's the holidays and your followers will understand or not. It depends on what you're doing. And just sneak peek, I am doing a Black Friday deal and it's only for the first 15 people. Keep an eye open for that. I will be announcing that on Thursday. Anyway, these constraints happen in your life. How can you reframe them so that they are a positive that frees up your creativity? So there you go. 3 creativity ideas inspired by Birdman. I hope you enjoyed them. And next week, I haven't decided on my topics yet for next week, but I will be here next week. I will be live Monday on LinkedIn, posting on YouTube on Tuesday, live on Wednesday on my Facebook pages, posting on Thursday on YouTube, and then I will be live on Friday morning, probably a little bit later than usual, but Friday, yes, Black Friday morning, I will be coming in with my quirky episode, and I will be posting that one on YouTube on Saturday. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. This is Carma Spence saying ciao for now.